Good evening, Hobby World. Thanks for joining us live tonight for episode 64 of Personal Rips and Hobby Chat. Joining us tonight, as always, is Ken from at Beans B Card Blog. I am Herman, aka 3B Collections, and joining us tonight, back from the dead, YouTube wise, is your Texas Talk Card Dude.
I am your Texas. Oh, hi, welcome to Hobby Hot. Oh, wait, wrong show.
No, the wrong show.
I don't know if I can handle this. This is a show where I don't have any like engineering responsibilities, so I just get to sit back and aggravate y'all and enjoy the show.
That's right. The engineering is in the wrong hands tonight.
That's right. Everybody, watch out. Put the women and babies to bed and get ready.
That's right. Well, Brad, it's good to have you in here.
Thank you. It's good to be. I guess you'd call it home, wouldn't you?
This is where you started.
Yeah, I guess. First engineer and first one. So, yeah, I call it home. I don't know if Kim would call it that, but I call it that.
Well, Ken calls a lot of stuff offline, but we won't talk about that.
I'm nothing if not honest.
That is true. That is 100% honest.
And some people do not like that, but you'll have that. Can't please everybody all the time.
You know what?
God, I'm gonna try to do more of something that we did in the beginning that we kind of got away from, and a lot of it was because we got kind of engulfed in what we were talking about. But I want to kind of keep up with chat tonight too. So, Diego, welcome. Mark, welcome in for the first time. I think I may be wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. And Mark Hoyle, welcome.
No, that's the great Mark Hoyle.
The great Mark Hoyle. That's it. So, as usual, I mean, we don't have any show notes. We kind of go off the cuff. Reached out to Brad yesterday to see if he, had a minute, and he did. He said he had 2. So,
yeah, and we're on minute 3.
I mean, I've heard he's used to doing things in about 45 seconds. So we're good.
Oh, dang! Shots.
Oh man, I thought I had the mute on. My bad.
Shots fired.
Ed, welcome, Ed. Woof. So Ken, and you said you kind of want to talk about this a little bit, but is that a KO shirt you have on?
It is a KO shirt. I wanted to. So I got this a couple years ago when Edge came back at the Royal Rumble. Like, it was a complete surprise because I don't follow like the rumors and all that. I'm not into all that. So I had no idea Edge was coming back after being out for like 10 years. And he was one of my favorite wrestlers. And they had a buy a shirt, get a second for like a penny or a second for $1. And this was the one. But I could not find my Edge shirt. It's packed away somewhere. So even though I was pulling for Austin to, open that can of whoop ass on KO, I still love me some KO. I can't recall, did you say you got to see that? Or was that not something you saw?
What's that?
The KO and Austin part. I know you said it. I think you said in Bo's chat you saw a little bit, didn't you?
No, I saw that match.
Oh, you saw that one?
That was kind of what drew me in because I'm, like his era and a little before was when I got back into wrestling and watched a lot of it. So when I heard that he was coming back, I'm like, well, I'm going to watch that. So I actually fell asleep during the Charlotte Flair match.
Charlotte and Ronda, yeah.
Yeah, and then when I woke back up about 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to get on my phone and watch the replay. So I watched the rest of it. But, yeah, I did watch that. And it turned out like I wanted, so.
Yeah, it turned out. I mean, overall, like, I'm just not that into WWE anymore. But, I mean, it's WrestleMania, so, I've watched it for how many years? I'm going to watch it again. But honestly, I think over the course of the 2 nights, they did a really fantastic job, and they appealed to the nostalgia of the guys that are our age. you had the Undertaker going into the Hall of Fame. So I was actually at the SmackDown Live and the Hall of Fame. So I was actually there with your friend and mine, Ryan Cracknell from Beckett.
Okay.
So we attended SmackDown in the Hall of Fame ceremony. But yeah, with like the Undertaker going in, who's from Texas. I don't remember if he's from here originally, but I believe he's in the Houston area now. He started out, in Texas, and then, same thing with Austin being Texan. It was very cool how, I don't believe too much in coincidences. So the fact that it was in Dallas, this was the year the Undertaker went in. After 19 years, Austin actually does something physical, in the ring. So, they did a really good job with that. And, I love how they've done this in the past, but of course, with it being in Texas this year, I loved how, I can't remember who it was for, but the Texas Southern University band performed one of the entrance themes. And then Seth Rollins, there was a choir, and they were younger. And I asked my wife, I'm like, do you think those are high school kids or do you think they're college kids? I can't remember what she said, but it was what it was. It went on. And then she woke me up the next morning. She texted me, come to find out the choir that performed as Seth Rollins came out
Yeah.
was my stepson's old high school choir.
Oh.
From Arlington High School. He just, unfortunately, he was class of 2020, so he wasn't involved. But yeah, it was actually his choir. So yeah, it was very cool. It's got to be something for those kids, even if you don't like wrestling. Knowing, you're out there, and millions of people have now seen you in 130 countries or something like that.
Well, that's like and this is stepping away from wrestling, but there was a kid that was from my local high school, the high school that I went to, that sung the national anthem at the one of the March Madness championship games.
Oh, that's fantastic! Very cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Cam. Oh,
yeah.
What was his name? Cam Rucker.
But yeah, it was a big weekend. I mean, the way they do it now, doing it over 2 nights instead of one, it's much
that was
more
weird.
Well, this is the 3rd year they've done that. They started it the first year of COVID because they didn't have a live. It wasn't a live WrestleMania. Well, I think it was live, but it was done in like one of their studios. They operated out of a studio for like a year, and then I guess they decided last year to try it 2 nights again. It worked out. But yeah, the way that they did that, and it being in Arlington here, I know they kept saying WrestleMania in Dallas. No, it wasn't in Dallas. It was in Arlington. And every time KO talked about how much he hated Dallas, I'm like, well, that's good because WrestleMania's in Arlington and we hate Dallas too. But
he was talking about how much he hated Texas.
Well, he did, but he also mentioned Dallas a lot. So.
He hated the hats and
But leading up to it, he had said Dallas a lot, and of course, my wife and I are having to pay fucking taxes for Jerry World and a new Ranger Stadium, even though the old stadium's like less than 30 years old. I've got clothes older than the old Ranger Stadium.
Well, it lasted longer than Turner Field.
Well, regardless, but yeah, so I thought they did a really good thing. There's a lot of independent wrestling. So Friday morning, my wife on the way to work dropped me off at my buddy Gary's, who's been in the chat from time to time. Elbow Sausage. We went to an MLW show with his son. It's a different wrestling association. So it was really cool. I got a picture with the guy that used to be Gangrel, if you guys know who he is. And then, I was like less than 10 feet from Ric Flair. So that was kind of cool. And then we went to SmackDown. And then the next day, it was still a full day, even though I didn't really go too far. But late nights for this old man. But yeah, just overall, I thought it was really good. The nostalgia and all that. Thought it was cool, of course, at the AHS choir. And then I know that in Bo's chat this morning, John from that 70s card show was saying that I was a Logan Paul fanboy now, but I had tweeted though that his performance was very impressive. Just calling it what it is. Now they had his brother on like the pre-show. That guy is a douche canoe and a half. Jake, I think is his name. Jake Paul.
Yep.
But no, I was really impressed with Logan Paul in the ring, and then same thing with, as much as even though I'm not a big fan of him, even though he's from my alma mater, Pat McAfee. I thought it was pretty cool, and those guys put in the work, so it was good to see. They didn't stink up the joint. The whole Johnny Knoxville thing was ridiculous.
Douche canoe.
Douche canoe.
Yep.
That can't be the first. That can't be the first time you've heard me say that. He's obviously not been. You've obviously not been watching all of our shows. If that's the first time you've heard me say that.
A douche canoe.
He doesn't watch it all.
He doesn't.
I watch it. Dude.
He doesn't watch it all.
So I've been training for I've had my head stuck in training videos for a month, and then
we've been going for over a year.
Has it been a year?
Oh, has been a year. You want to throw it back to you? August 31st was the first show with you of 2020. Wow. Of 2020.
With me?
No, with when we first started, that was the first show.
Gotcha.
Golly, man. Dang. Time flies.
Yeah, we were a lot young. We were a lot younger then.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were. Way before COVID or anything like that.
Douche canoe.
Lord have mercy. Douche canoe.
But I got in all my talking points I want to say on WrestleMania. So thanks for letting me get that in there. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was
but
they did a good job here.
I thought it was funny that when I started watching, of course, I was streaming it on Peacock, but I don't know, something happened and it cut off, and I went back to it and cut it back on, and it rewinded back to the middle of the Logan Paul match.
Oh.
And I just thought it was funny that my 12-year-old daughter knew instantly when she saw him who he was.
Yeah, on their the pre-show I was talking about, where they there was a panel outside. They were talking. Yeah, they had his brother, and they had some kid that's like some TikTok whatever. He's like 20 years old. Yeah, they always do all that stuff with the celebrities to try to bring in the other people to get some interest. Of course, those of us that do enjoy wrestling kind of roll our eyes. But that's going back to what I was saying. I give Logan Paul credit because he performed well. He put in the work. So did Pat McAfee. But I think they both are like lifelong wrestling fans. So I guarantee you those guys train their rear ends off. Because you're probably not going to get to do it again. So if it's something you grew up watching, I remember watching Hulk and Andre WrestleMania 3. If I'm going to get a chance to do it, which I'm not, I'm just saying, but I am going to work twice as hard as most people would, or just some other jabroni that's just doing it for some exposure.
Right.
So, but I was really, like I said, I was really impressed with those guys. They did not embarrass themselves. They did not embarrass WWE. And then they did a good job with, they did a good job too, I thought, with bringing Austin out to close night 2 as well, and getting that in there, getting one more shot with Austin and letting him ride off into the sunset that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go back and watch the beginning of Saturday night and the end of Sunday night. But I when I pulled it up, because I hadn't thought anything about WrestleMania at all. And my son texted me. One of my sons texted me and said that that Stone Cold had a match that night, which was Saturday night. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna try to watch it. And I kind of figured that, it being him, it would have been like the last match of the night. So we finished watching what we was watching, then I flipped over to it, and that's when I picked the Charlotte Flair and Ronda match.
See, it was supposed to be the night 1. It was supposed to be just like the KO show, so it was supposed to be like an in-ring interview segment. But Crystal's watching it with me, and she picked it out immediately. She saw it at the same instant I did. When Stone Cold came out, he had both knee braces on.
Yep.
Why would he have both knee braces on? And the only other thing I could think was if his knees are so bad that he maybe he wanted the support like at the end just to get up on the ring. I didn't have any. I really didn't have any. I didn't have any thoughts that it was actually going to be physical. I mean,
yeah.
because it was just. But yeah, when he had those knee braces on, you definitely knew it was more than just him sitting there.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, yeah, I could see that, but at the same time, though, for the last 5-6 years of his career, I mean, that was kind of his look. So it
but
could have
yeah,
been,
but
it could
when
have
he
been that
performed,
too. But it was going to be physical.
I mean, I figured he'd get a stunner in or something like that, but you might not necessarily need both knee braces. But I mean, the guy hasn't performed for 19 years, and we don't know how bad his back and his neck and his knees actually are. I mean, I think he's
True.
59. I think he's 59. Maybe it's not that quite that old, but he's well into his 50s. I mean, all of our bodies break down, especially someone that put their body through all that those guys do.
Yep. Welcome,
Gary.
elbow sausage and Bo.
Yep.
Welcome
Gary's son
it
had
was.
Gary's son had a blast on Friday, so it all turned out well.
You talking about Stone Cold? His the show he had on TV, Skull Ranch or
something like that. I never watched it.
He actually filmed 2 seasons right here in my hometown.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
On Lake Hartwell, and it was pardon my French, but it was a shit show. behind the scenes,
douche canoe.
Yeah, it's a douche canoe. Yeah, behind the scenes. I mean, they edit and do whatever on TV, but knowing some of the folks that I know, some guys that actually went to school with some guys that worked on the local EMT, and they were like called out nightly for
people passing out dehydrated.
Dehydrated, and too much alcohol.
Well, there's that too.
But my wife got to meet him, which was I guess that was pretty cool. It seemed like she always gets to meet all the celebrities. She met him and Jesse Tuggle from the Falcons, and Jim Rice, most recently Jim Rice. Yep, which I was hoping to get to meet, but my little round with COVID kind of cut that out. So
fair enough. But yeah, I guess we've dedicated 20 minutes to wrestling. I guess we could actually talk about stuff that some of the people are interested in.
I told you I'd give you your time with wrestling.
You did. You gave me way more, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I thought they did a fantastic job overall. Even though I'm not really a fan of their current product, I just thought they did a really good job the way they did everything.
And we found a topic that would silence the dude.
Wait, let me turn on my heater.
He had nothing to say.
Dude, unless you go back to well, I do know UNT Stone Cold, but unless you go back to Fabulous Freebirds, into that era, that's back when I know anything past that, meh.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a stint with the late 80s from and I'm talking about before wrestling was mainstream. They were still wrestling in the local high school gyms, you know what I'm saying? And then I picked it back up in 96, 97, I think.
Well, so, here's the test. Ken, do you know where all that started in the 80s?
Where all what started?
All that whole wrestling, all of that. You know where that started?
Are you talking about the rock and wrestling and all the MTV stuff, or I don't know.
No, we're talking about the original Fabulous Freebirds and all that whole group. Do you know where? Do you know?
You just mean the fact that they were in World Class and all that?
Yep. Do you know what? Do you know where?
Yeah, here.
6 minutes from you, baby. 6 minutes from you in Arlington, Texas. And it actually started the old man that's there. He's still there. His son is now doing MMA training, and they're having MMA fights there in Arlington, and trying to do the same thing with MMA that they did with wrestling. So
Yeah, I know Gary knows all of like the underground wrestling, the wrestling,
Yeah.
Right there,
club.
baby.
Wrestling club. You don't talk about wrestling club, or whatever that
Yep.
line was from Fight Club.
That's where it started there in Arlington, Texas. That's where they did those original.
So Bo, this is for you. Bo is like the biggest Goldberg fan.
All right, puppy dog sighting.
She didn't like that.
No, a dog walked by. There was a dog out walking their human. Hey.
The wheels are off. I didn't even have to shoot the wheels off tonight.
All right.
I hate Goldberg.
What?
I knew that. I already knew that. He is not a talented wrestler. He's a big lug.
Ain't nothing wrong with big lugs.
Yeah, and he's right. I mean, I am partial to him because he is a Georgia boy. So Bo kind of made a point on his show that that he got the fact that I like Goldberg because he was a Georgia boy. So
I mean, I get it because we had WVU over the weekend. WVU had their second person that was ever in a WrestleMania match. So I get it.
yeah.
Not that he was really a football player; he was just a punter.
I've come to the conclusion. I think that I'm a fan of all the ball headed dudes because between Goldberg and Stone Cold,
You set yourself up for that one.
I did. But yeah, all right, we gotta get off something first, wrestling, because we're running people off.
Hey Zach, I can't help it, man. Okay. So let's draw this out here. So I wake up at 5:30. Okay, I head out about 6:15. I listen to Newman. Yeah, I listen to Newman. I listen to who else? I listen to Hobby Hotline when I can't catch it, and then I listen to Christian radio on the way for Bible studies. When I get home or on my way home, I listen to Beckett and everyone. Yeah, here you go. So you're going to give me a tiny violin for feeding my soul and listening to Jesus. I see. So Zach is a Jesus hater. Let we just bring that.
No. Don't say that. Don't say that now. Don't say that. Hold on.
So on the way home, I listen to Dr. Beckett and I talk to and I actually do business. By the time I get home, I'm so tired, man. I'm so tired. I know, but I am so tired until it gets like, you forget I hadn't worked in like a year or year and a couple months. I'm just now getting back into it.
I just want to commend Zach for getting Tiny and Brad into the same sentence.
Yeah, well, it could be worse. There could be skid marks everywhere.
I was going to say it would have been better if he could have worked skid marks in it too.
Hashtag skid marks.
Yes, what Zach said there on the the speeding the thing up, I literally did not know about that function until maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. So I was always behind. I'm able to usually get caught up, except now that I'm working on 4 days worth of videos trying to get caught up. Yeah, because I was thinking as you did the count, as the countdown was playing, I was like, man, this is really slow in real time.
I don't do that on podcast, and I'll have to be honest here. I've never figured out how to do it on YouTube.
YouTube's easy. I can do it on. I can't do it on podcasting. If I could do it on podcast in the car, I could consume twice as much content.
Well, Apple Podcast makes it easy. It's right there on the screen. But I've never seen it on YouTube.
It's not real hard. I can tell you how to do it. We can talk about that later. I don't unless somebody else needs to know, I guess we can talk about it. But I do love the
now I will say that when I first started listening to Dr. Beckett, I was listening to his on 2X because he and this is not a knock on him, but when he first started his podcast, he talked kind of real methodical and slow.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Look, it's right there.
I told you, it's right there on the screen.
Now, shoot. Okay, so now I know, and knowing
No.
is half the battle.
But like I said, he was real like slow and methodical about when he spoke, so you could speed him up and still understand him. But now, and I don't know if it's his editing or what, but now if you listen to a lot of his shows, if you go up like 1.5, it's talking so fast that and I listen to a lot of mine while I'm at work, so I'm actually doing something, so it's kind of harder to focus on what they're saying. So if I speed it up, I miss a lot. So
Yeah. Like, everybody, people have different cadences and different deliveries, and his is one that I can turn up a little faster just because of his cadence. But then there's guys that, I just can't do that with, or specifically, I follow some racing ones that are, they have foreign accents. So I do have to kind of keep them at like either normal speed or, 125 or something like that, because I do have, it is tougher to keep up with them. But yeah, I mean, like I said, everybody has different cadences, but most people I actually am at like 175.
Oh, now I want to listen to Newman in like 5x speed to see what.
Yeah, John. Yeah, John's is one. Yeah, that I can just turn it because, like I said, just his cadence and delivery is slower. I talk faster, so if I was doing a podcast, people would probably not be able to speed me up. I talk a little slower, I think, on YouTube when I'm showing cards. But yeah, I mean, I know I go very fast, so it would be harder to put me on high speed, I think. But I do not listen to anything where I am on there. I do not like my voice, so I don't even listen.
yeah, I don't like mine either.
Man, that means I can start listening to Bo in like 5x and see what happens.
Lord, no, you need to slow him down to 3/4. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, I'm kidding.
But you made a good point though, Herman. The faster it is, the tougher it is to keep up with it if you're actually doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to videos most of the day while I work. So there are certain ones that like I'll skip if I'm in the middle of something intense. I'm working on a project that I'm intense. I'll slow it down, or I'll slow someone down, or I'll just literally skip them. And then there's other ones where, when I'm doing photographs for eBay and stuff, I'm not really thinking a lot. So yeah, I can go a little faster. But yeah, there's, it also depends on what you're doing as well. It's a great point.
Yep. Yeah, and there's a lot of times, like I said, doing in my line of work, I'm fooling with electrical all the time, and there's a lot of times that I'll be listening, and I get it to a point of my job where I have to pause it because it's either that or I'll let it play and I don't even remember what's said because I'm focusing on what I'm doing, and I'm a slow learner. So
I mean that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes perfect sense, and that's, like I said, that's why it's so different for everyone. How you take it in, just in general, and then B, what you're doing. Like you said, there's just some guys that there's just some people, and I say guys as a general term, but yeah, there's some that you can just listen to faster, and some I can't listen to as fast. And like I said, the folks with the foreign accents, I got to slow them down. And if I'm in the middle of working in an Excel spreadsheet and I'm writing a bunch of formulas, yeah, I can't, I'm very passively listening.
Right. Yeah. And I've kind of said this at work that, I learn more by doing than listening. So I have to kind of slow things down and really take it in to pick up on what's being said. So,
well, the worst part about it is as I pull into to work, I've had listened to sports hobby talk for at least 35, 40 minutes. My sports brain's on like cards. So when I get upstairs, it takes me 15 minutes just to switch brain to technology. So that's always fun in the morning, is to have that switch.
yeah.
Hey, I was just going to point out that we're 30 minutes in. We haven't talked about cards at all. So I don't know. Do we have any topics?
Yeah.
Wait, what are cards?
Yeah, we can get into that. But real quick, I want to jump back up here because this comment jumped out at me. Is it David? Elbow sausage?
Gary.
I'm sorry. Is he a Georgia fan?
I don't think he's particularly a Georgia fan. I think he was just probably saying in general that yeah, he was a Bulldog.
Was he sucking up to like me or?
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
What's up, Mickey? Good to have you in here.
I just want to point out that Brad was the one that said why and not me.
It was just like a second thought. It just automatically came out. There was no.
I thought it real quick, and we'll get onto something else. But I thought it was funny that last night that the biggest topic on Twitter last night was the fact that there was some Washington fans that was upset that when you typed hashtag Go Dogs on Twitter, it still came up with the Georgia logo.
I mean, I get it.
Because, they said that, Georgia doesn't have a patent on Go Dogs. Why this and why that? And it was just.
I guess if you won the championship, it might be your logo.
Yeah. It was silly. The whole conversation was silly, if you ask me. And somebody pulled up the fact that, the University of Georgia, all the patent sayings and listings and whatever they had, and Dogs was one of them. And somebody's like, well, Go Dogs isn't on that list. Well, Go, you can't patent Go. And it was just back and forth. I thought it was funny.
Some people got to be butthurt about something all the time.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, now.
Wow, that was a segue.
Woo,
you're talking about transitioning into a topic.
Butthurt. Wow.
You brought up Panini and the WWE license.
Oh.
Yeah,
and I know where you're going with it. Panini has a license.
It was automatically. Okay, we got to talk about it.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I know Panini has a licensing now, and the fact that Fanatics made their announcement, but you had something you wanted to say about it. So
I didn't really have anything in particular, like any thoughts. Man, that's something else. Fanatics and Topps announces that they're getting the contract when the current one's over, and Panini hadn't even released a damn product yet.
Right.
I don't know. I definitely, we talk about how when we know that Stella, when contracts are changing, what do? Do you not want to give it any attention, or do you just want to print the hell out of it just to make the money you can because you're not as worried about the future? And so it'll be interesting to see how Panini, addresses this. Do you just let the presses run, pretty much 24/7 so you can make everything you can, not knowing you're not going to get it back? And if you think Panini sucks at redemptions now, they are going to put less than zero effort into fulfilling these redemptions. I'm still waiting on Alec Manoa and Charles Barkley redemptions from 3 years ago. You get a wrestling redemption, man, you may as well just redeem it for your 100 Panini points and be done with it.
That's right. Tolo, baby. Turn it on, leave it on.
But, and I may have misheard. I don't think I did, but, John kind of had an interesting point on his show today. I don't know if y'all listened to it yet, but it kind of sounded to me like that he may be under the assumption that Fanatics may be already in a deal to, and I may be misquoting that, they may already be looking at acquiring Panini, and that's where the fact that they got the license for 2 years comes from. I don't know.
Yeah, obviously, I've heard the same rumor. We've all heard the same rumors, and I've gotten to the point where just because I'm not really focused on modern stuff, I don't open stuff. I don't play the card lottery. I don't open stuff. I don't get into breaks. Every once in a while I may, but at the end of the day, it kind of doesn't affect me, if that makes sense. And I know that people will say, well, even if it doesn't affect you, it does. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of opinions on it or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised. Panini does have trademarks that are desirable. There's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. So, especially if you can get a deal out of it, knowing that you already kind of have what you have, if Panini, whatever international or whatever is willing to say, okay, you know what, let's just cut our losses. We've made what we've made. Let's move on to something else. I mean, I could see it happening, and I don't think it would be a bad thing. Like I said, I mean, sorry, I think there is room for both Topps Chrome basketball and Panini Prism basketball because you have different people that are interested in each for different reasons. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that that's a bad thing, and it would be nice that we could see National Treasures baseball with logos. Stuff like that. So I mean, I honestly hope it happens because if it already sucks that, monopolies suck as is, the monopoly is only going to get worse. But I guess at least if, like I said, you can get Panini products, people do love Prism in basketball and football. So now let's have Panini Prism with baseball logos. And that's going to make a lot of people happy. And so I think there's room for both. And there's going to be people that, they're going to be staunch Topps Chrome baseball. Anybody else hear that? Was that okay? I'll shut up. I guess I want you to shut up.
That was honestly a slip of the fingers. But go ahead. Now I get what you're saying.
It's weird when I slip the finger. It's usually like this.
But be a dickhole.
No, I get what you're saying because I've kind of thought the same thing, or is along the same lines as far as it not affecting you. And that was kind of like the point I had of it is, I heard some folks that was just like all up in the air because Fanatics announced that, they're going to have the licensing in 2 years and taking it away from Panini. And, they're basically, like you said, they're giving the finger to Panini and they're trying to beat them in the ground and run them out of business because they can't buy them out. But, and like I said, like you said, to me, and I know I don't collect wrestling, but I'm looking at even with baseball, the way I collect, it doesn't really affect me at all. So I don't.
And my thing is, but as someone who still collects, even though I don't collect the new stuff, I do buy stuff to resell on eBay to put that money into my own hobby. And if for no other reason than that alone, for selfish reasons, even though it doesn't affect me, I still want the hobby to get bigger. I still want it to be better because, I'm selling cards from the 90s and the 80s. Well, if Fanatics does something that gets the kid in, well, maybe now dad comes back in. I mean, we saw it with COVID, but now here's another way that potentially could happen. So, I mean, I want to see everything be as successful as possible, even if I don't really care for it. At first, and I'm guilty of, being angry sometimes and just crapping on everything.
Sometimes.
But the fact of the matter, no, I'm trying to be a gentler, kinder being. Okay. But the reality, like I said, it's whatever that stupid phrase is that I can never remember. The rising tide lifts all ships or whatever. Let that stuff that even I don't care about, I still want it to be successful because I do want more people, when I'm selling my cards. I wish there'd be less people when I was buying my cards, but it is what it is.
Well, it is going to affect you. It is because whether
yes, just not the immediately, but it will definitely affect all of us. Second hand, third hand.
It's gonna if this is a huge if Luber pulls this off and the hobby exponentially increases, then people will move from A to B to C to D. And there is one of the things that I have noticed in the past year is there is backlash within the hobby. And if Fanatics keeps pulling stuff like this, there will be a portion of the hobby that gives them the middle finger. And then you've got that going on as well. So there is some checks and balances. There will be some people that move. There will be some if, and I said if, Luber pulls it off. I don't think it's going to be as wide as they want it to be, but I think there will be some increase just by visibility, by things being more readily available, by commercials being thrusted in front of you during the World Series, the NBA playoffs, the Final Four, the World Series. I mean, all of that. They're going to be doing mass loads of advertising to build this up. So there is going to be. There'll probably be some planted cards, for lack of a better phrase. There'll probably be some way of showing off. I mean, there's already accusations of planted cards, so we can't really. I'm not breaking any news to anybody. So there's going to be that I guess media blitz, for lack of a better phrase, to bring those in. And as you, of course, your face says it all, Ken. As you widen it, there is that trickle down effect. So yes, I understand where it immediately doesn't affect me, but if I'm Joe Q hobbyist and I'm like, well, I'm out. Looking now at the steadily rising prices of vintage, slowly going up because people who are core hobbyists are now going, yeah, I think I'm going to the old stuff. Look at 87 Donruss or 84 Donruss baseball. Look at 87 Topps baseball. I mean, even though there's still printer presses being run on 87 Topps baseball, the price is going up. So as people turn their heads and what the question
people are going back to it
going to be, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was one thing that 87. If anytime I can find 87 Topps, I'll buy it and I'll open it. I mean, it's just because I can open a pack of 87 Topps, and just about every card in that set, as I pull it, I can think back to 87 and remember, where I was the first time I saw this card.
Yeah.
Which I want to say that, 87 Topps was the first wax pack that I actually opened after I got into collecting. And the majority of the 87 Topps I opened was sitting on the sidewalk outside of an Eckerd's drugstore where I bought the cards. Because me and my cousin would go to Eckerd's and we'd buy them. There was like 3 for $1 or some nonsense like that. We'd talk our mamas into giving us a couple of bucks while they went grocery shopping, and we'd get out of their hair and go next door and buy 3 packs for $1. Or, if we talked them into $2, we get 6 packs, and we walk outside the store, sit on the sidewalk, and just start opening them.
You got a 6-pack.
Bought a 6-pack, right? Exactly. And the first time I ever saw the Bo Jackson 87 Topps was, I was sitting on that sidewalk outside of Eckerd's drugstore. The 87 Mark McGuire, I was sitting outside the Eckerd's drugstore on that sidewalk. So, yeah, I mean, that's one thing about it. And that's the biggest thing about the hobby is for a lot of people that's, I want to say my age or, some of our ages that, you go back to the older stuff, no matter how much it's printed, it's like reliving your youth. I mean,
what's what I'm looking for? The demand outweighs the supply a little bit. I mean, you guys moved it. Sorry, I had to pop off, but yeah, I guess we got tornado watch now. But
really,
yeah.
Let me hold on. Where's that? Is that just your county?
It said for Arlington, so I don't know. I don't know up where you are, because the app I have is specific to my location. But yeah, I mean, I was talking to I've been today. I was texting with my cousin who his dad is the one that got me into cards, and we were just talking about the nostalgia, and then that's how I'm collecting now. For the most part, the racing, I'm collecting the Earnhardt stuff and the guys that I liked back in the 90s. And it's not just me that does that. It's everybody that does that.
It's good, Mark.
If only Logan watched.
I really don't need to know about your personal problems, brother.
Look, it's Skid Mark, baby. No, and Denton's under the tornado warning too, so just FYI.
Yeah, I figured it's the whole area. But anyway, yeah, I mean, like I said, and so it will affect us because, like you said, I do think, that some people will move to that stuff, and then, there's always new people coming in. I think about the fact that I sold a couple of lots of cards on eBay over the weekend that have been up since November. Why does somebody just buy them now? It's not like they spent $1,000 and they were saving up for something. These are like $5 lots. And, in a lot of cases, I'm getting those, and those guys have 5 feedback, 25 feedback. Doesn't necessarily mean they're new to the hobby. Maybe it's a new account, but there's enough new people still always coming in.
I was going to say that's, you've had it up that long, and then all of a sudden it sells. It's almost like it's just somebody that they opened up eBay one day, so we'll just see what's out there, and then I don't know who the lot was, but just say it was Mike Schmidt or something like that. I'm like, oh man, I just love Mike Schmidt. Let me get that.
Well, I've got 2 Janet Jackson Pro Set promo cards, and they keep trying to buy them cheap. I'm like, nope, that's my price. But I'm starting to get like 1 offer a day on them, so eventually somebody will buy them. But that just started within the past 3 weeks, I think, that they started daily pinging on me about that price. So I mean, who knows?
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it just shows that there's always new people coming in. And the bigger that it gets, okay, just because somebody didn't come back during COVID, 5 years from now, when every half inning of the World Series, you're getting another Fanatics baseball cards commercial.
I full well expect that.
Yeah, exactly. I do too. So yeah, even if they don't come back to the new stuff because whatever, or if they come back to the new stuff, it doesn't mean they're not going to come back. And they were 12 years old during the summer of '98 when McGuire and Sosa were going at it, and that's their thing. So there's, like I said, with Fanatics doing that, I mean, it's going to get bigger. Even if it doesn't affect you, it does affect you, I guess. The changes of the immediacy of whatever, the distribution and stuff, that doesn't affect me. But, second, third, fourth hand, everything does affect even us that are collecting differently and not collecting the modern stuff.
Well, let's talk about that for a second with the second, third, and fourth hand, because it was originally Fanatics whatever their manifest destiny to be the first, the second, and the third hand. So you've got everybody trying to put their cookie in, or their hand into the second and third cookie jar. That's going to be a very interesting battle if you've got somebody who's making the cards, reselling the cards. I mean, didn't that really go into Upper Deck ComC type world, where you've got the e-packs that can now be, you buy an e-pack, you get it onto the secondary market right there from Fanatics, and all of a sudden I buy it from Herman, who bought it from you, who originally pulled the pack, and it's all just coming through the same until I get the physical card.
I mean, it is, but at the end of the day, too, there's still enough room for more than one people, as much as I feel Fanatics will try to push everybody out or buy them up. But, it seems like now the auction houses are getting more popular. So instead of it getting smaller as far as where you can buy, it actually seems like there's more and more. I mean, I know Star Stock has basically gone under, all but gone under. And a lot of those fly-by-night ones that all popped up within that 12 to 18 months are gone. But, there's still always going to be room for that ComC. There's still, eBay in a way will be the PSA of selling. at least for a while, because they've just been the number one for so long. Whether you like it or you don't like it,
Yeah.
Now, I think if Fanatics starts doing their own thing, but it might be almost a thing where we talk about where you have a particular grading company that you send vintage cards to. Well, maybe eBay is where the vintage cards are sold, and then everything that's printed starting in, whatever, let's say 2024 is when. I know it's supposed to be later, but
Yeah.
let's just be
Whatever.
real. Fanatics is going to start having their, sooner than later. So maybe that's where that ends up. So there's a different, there's different places. But there's benefits to there being basically one place, because then everything's in one place, but then there's disadvantages. So it just
Yeah.
is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm just learning. I've just either, just got to go with the flow.
So how soon are you completely getting off eBay selling?
No time soon.
No, and I thought that you and I thought I'd read somewhere that you were done with eBay. I just didn't.
I mean, I have my days where I'm irritated because of stupid crap, but where else am I going to go to move this stuff?
Well, that was the other question: is where you gonna go?
Huh?
Where else are you gonna go?
No.
But yeah, I mean, I sell mostly lots. Well, you don't have that option on ComC. eBay, I don't have to pay up front like I do ComC. I've got so many cards that I've sent to ComC, and then they don't sell at 60 cents, and I paid 30 cents to put them on. But I could probably put those same cards on eBay for $1 with $1 shipping if I want, and they'll move.
Yeah. Well, what about putting them on sport lots as a bulk?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I said to you when you were trying to do your thing, I'm not spreading myself thin. I need to kind of just stick to the one, like Bo says, and he kind of sticks to the one. And if somebody tries to, wants to work something out, he's like, hey, it's on eBay. You can just buy it there. I don't want to. I'm not gonna do eBay and do stack deals on Twitter and do this and do that, because the other thing is this is just a part-time thing for me to make more funds to spend on my personal collection.
Yeah.
This isn't my job. This isn't how I'm paying the bills. I don't want to spend 5 hours every evening because I'm trying to put stuff on Sport Lots, eBay, and run a Twitter sale.
Yeah.
So I'm basically just sticking eBay. Yeah, the fees suck, but you do have a lot of benefits and things that eBay helps you with. So, I guess at the end of the day, it's the least of all evils, I guess, is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an added benefit if you think about it too. Everybody was like worried about the hobby growing, and yeah, if you're just buying what you want and that's it, then the hobby growing kind of hurts you. But and also that if you never sell anything, like some people claim to not do, but if you're just selling off what you don't want to to fund to buy the stuff that you do want, then the hobby growing puts more eyes on what you have to sell.
Yep.
So in that case, then it benefits you a lot, really.
It's kind of the question. I posted a poll a long time ago, and one of these days we'll talk about it on the show. But what part of money in the hobby is more important to you?
Holy!
Is it more important to you that you have to? Oh, jeez. Is it more important to you that you're getting more out of the cards you don't want, or is it more that I hate that I'm having to pay more for the cards I do want?
I've had more success at taking cards and selling them at the Dallas card show, walking around, than I did in half a year at one time. I'm toying with the idea of just completely demolishing my eBay store and going a completely different route. And that's why I bring that up. I'm not saying that eBay isn't a good tool or it isn't a good selling platform. I'm saying it's probably not for me.
Oh yeah, I mean I can understand that.
And it's just different trains of thoughts, and that's why we were talking. You and I talk. We'll probably talk when I come out to your house about certain philosophies and changing and whatnot. But
that sounds great in theory for your Luka Doncic cards. But what about all of the $1 cards and $2 cards you have? You're not going to take all those to a show and sell those.
No,
at least
but
not, unless you're planning to dump them to somebody.
Well, I'll either donate them or take the star players and make quarter boxes out of them and go to a smaller show, set up, and go there. I mean, and then over time, my over time is just a scale. So there's a scale down, and use that money to buy Willie Mays and a couple of others, some skid mark cards. Buy. Make sure that I can send cards that I want out to other people that I find. It's just I agree about eBay. It works for 99% of the people out there. For me, I see where the benefits are, but like you can, it was spending 5 hours or 4 hours or however many hours just doing it. Yes, you can start over. You can blow it up and start it all over. But again, that's
I think he's talking about the video because he's late.
Oh, okay. But I forget he does that. Oh my gosh. He knows he does that, and it completely derails me. He does it every single time. I'm done. I'm done with my rant.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Some things are for some people, some things aren't. But that's just always going to be what it is. Selling cards full time wasn't for you, and it's not for me. I couldn't do it, but it works for Bo and it works for Denny.
Yeah.
And hey, all the power to him. But I couldn't do it. But just like that, just like some people are wired that works. Some places to sell work for others, and some don't. I mean, if I take I sell these lots, and if I even have these at quarter boxes at a Dallas show, how long is it going to take me to get through those? Years. I'm going to get through them faster on eBay because now I have thousands of people seeing it and potentially hundreds of thousands. So,
well, and the worst becomes the worst. I could always just donate them to Rich. So,
yep. Well, real quick, let me jump back up. I want to address a couple things in the chat here. Where was it at?
So, hey Ken, what else?
Yeah.
What else can we rant about while Herman's trying to steer the boat straight?
Going back to when we were talking about getting rid of stuff that you don't want to buy stuff you do. Mickey kind of had the comment that getting rid of the Freeman cards that I don't want anymore. But yeah, I'm still buying Freeman cards. Picked up a 2017 Beam Team.
I had one that sold very well the other day at a show.
Picked up the 2019 Panini, number 5 of 199.
Oh, that's a sweet card.
Nothing big, but I got these bad boys for you. I sent you that text today.
I saw that. Appreciate it.
We will hold those to the side and get them your way sometime.
And then I also picked up the 2017 Orange 8 out of 50 Beam Team.
So have you picked these up in the last couple of weeks?
Picked them up this week.
Have you felt like the prices are a little bit lower? How has that market? Really. How has that?
So not really. It's pretty much stayed the same from everything that I've been watching. It hasn't went up or went down. It's it is what it is. But yeah, I'm still buying Freeman's. He's not going anywhere. But and the next one I wanted to talk about was Dan. He's like, hypothetically, what Braves would you pick to PC next? Albies, Acuna? It wouldn't be Acuna. Even though I love Acuna, I'm not sold on him because it seems like that every year since he's been with the Braves organization, he's been injured in one way or another. He's been productive when he's healthy, but there's always that looming injury that's out there, kind of like Tatis. But the two, if I had to pick one or the other, and it would be either Dansby Swanson or Acuna. I'm sorry, not Acuna, Albies. Which, interestingly enough, I've kind of PC'd them already. Not necessarily where I go out and search them, but if I get them, they have their own little separate slot that they go in to keep them separate from the rest of them. So
I gotta let's put Rich over the top. Hey, Ken, what should I collect?
what you like?
But I like everything. What should I collect, Ken?
What makes you happy?
His wife.
Yes.
There you go. That's it. Question answered.
Something tells me that's a one-way street. Her making him happy.
But no, seriously. So jumping back in. There's Willie Mays. So I've started that PC. I told Herman last night I was thinking about doing, and I started this. I actually won an auction. I bought an Otani. I bought the Otani number 600. So I bought this one and a PSA 10. I won in an auction last night. So I'm thinking I'm going to do Heritage High rookie cards. Because I like Heritage High.
My new PC is Mike Trout, Tatis, Vlad, Otani,
and Tom Brady.
Acuna, and Tom
Brady. But it's
Tom Brady's last
touchdown
ball.
I thought I'd do a PC of Heritage High rookie cards. I mean, and then, but I love the Rangers, so I've got that 72 Rangers set. So I'm going to build that one, and then, I collect. I got to find other stuff to collect. So, help me out, Ken.
You know what?
Help me, Obi-Wan Ken.
But I mean, in all seriousness, it's like we said earlier. Everyone's wired differently. What sparks joy for you doesn't spark joy for me, and vice versa. So, for me, I like the things that are like from the 80s, the 90s, or maybe even earlier that give me those thoughts of those happy times when I was a kid. I mean, remember when we were kids, we all wanted to grow up, and now we're all like, the hell were we thinking? Those were some damn good days. But that's the way. But that's the way I'm wired. I don't like most modern sports. You guys do, or at least you have. Maybe Herman's not an MLB guy, but he's a Braves guy. And he's a UGA guy, right now in this day and age. So what sparks joy for him should be different than what sparks joy for me.
Ooh,
wait. So I love 400,000 cards since he sold all of it. Yeah. Well, actually, this happened to me, Herman. One of my prospects, who's becoming a friend of mine, it has over 100,000 cards, and he told me 12 cases of unopened 1980s cards cases that he's going to consign that he's going to let consign through me. And he bought 3 tubs from his house that I get to go pick up and play with. So that's going to be fun to do. That'll be fun.
Dibs on the Earnhardts.
Oh, dude. That's not cool, man.
You said 80s?
I'm sorry, 80. Actually, late 80s, early 2000s. So I'm hoping 2002 football or 2003 football, or I don't know. I can't get him to give me a huge description or anything more than.
I mean, I think 2000 football is what you want, right?
Well, yeah, but 2010. I'll take 2010 as well, but
But I mean that goes back to exactly what you know, and I know you were just kind of being funny about what you collect, but that stuff brings no joy to me, and that's why when those people say that stuff, like A, I just roll my eyes anyway, but B, I'm like, I can't tell you what you should collect. Only you. That's a personal thing. It really is.
So why y'all making fun of my Otani? Just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Well, I only said that because you mentioned Willie Mays and Otani in the same sentence. So I'm like, okay.
You've got. I honestly, I think I'm not a huge Angels fan. Being a Rangers fan, that's like nemesis. But the fact that I acknowledged finally Otani being, I don't want to say he's done something that not a lot of people have done in the modern era. You at least have to respect that. I'm not going to go out and buy cards or anything like that. So,
no, I'm not knocking Otani at all. He's,
no, we're just knocking you.
Yeah.
Oh, I see how it is. Don't be a dickhole.
Hey, do as I say, not as I do.
But yeah, I mean, and if I collected indifferent, I would probably keep some Otani cards. Matter of fact, probably one of my biggest sales that I've ever made on eBay was an Otani 1 of 1.
Yeah.
That I pulled. I actually pulled the card and didn't even realize it was a 1 of 1 until I started building the set and was looking at the back of them. I'm like, wait, this has got a gold stamp on it. What is this? And it was when I first got back in. I mean, it was a 2019. Now, it wasn't the true Otani card. It was the team card, but Otani was pictured on it. And, I'm like, well, I'm not going to put that with the set. Let me go find another one and put it in there and put this one on eBay and sold it. I kind of wish I'd have kept it, but it wasn't, he wasn't one I wanted to keep. So,
yeah, I've been, and I've actually talked to John a little bit about this, about, what do I collect now? Because I ripped that off and I'm like, I've got, I got a significant portion of cards, and I'm like, okay, now what?
All right, fellas. Hey, I'm gonna have to jet. My wife just got back with our Walmart order, so I got to help her get that in. So I got to jet. Thanks everybody that was in the chat. You guys can go as long as you like, but I do got to jet. I apologize.
Hey man, take care.
Right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye. Yeah, we'll catch up. Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Wow.
We are back to
together again.
The OG.
Wow.
OG.
Wow.
I actually went back today. I'm not going to lie, because the picture that I put on Twitter, I don't know if you saw it or not.
I did. I appreciate you putting up embarrassing pictures of me.
That was a picture of you from the very first episode of Personal Rips and Hobby Chat.
Wow.
On August the 31st of 2020.
Wow. That's I didn't even realize it was back then. I mean, so much has happened since then that you're like, good grief.
That was see what you got me into here. I'm like, every Monday.
Let's just go live, Herman. Just go live.
Let's go live. We're supposed to be talking here. We're just talking cards. Go hit the live button.
Go ahead. Just hit the live button. It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
And now I feel like I have to rush home on Mondays and get this going. And some days it don't happen, and I feel like crap because it don't. And here we are.
Well,
and John wants to talk. John wants to talk soccer.
We're not talking soccer. So when I stopped doing content, it was just one of those, like, now what? Like, you do that for a year, you do that all, like, there's kind of a small hole. And listening to people on the way back, on the way to and from, it's like, well, dang, it is better than food issues. But the time is just, it's just different. I I really don't want to talk soccer cards, as you can tell.
Messi.
Because I know nothing about.
Messi's all I know about soccer.
I know nothing about soccer, so
Yeah.
I know the only thing I know about soccer is it has a round ball, and that's about it. And honestly, that's about all I want to know. So,
well, that's every other sport other than football. So,
yeah. Well, you've got baseball. Speaking of baseball, I did my fantasy baseball team last night, and you would be proud of me. I was able to pick up Acuna. Was able to pick up a couple of other. Some guy that used to be a Brave. So I did target your team a little bit. So
you got Freeman?
Yeah, I did get Freeman. I did not have bad. I stuck with hitters the first half, and then went with pitchers the second half. So I got some good hitters, but yeah,
I don't know if I could do fantasy baseball.
It's a grind, but I did it because I wanted to see stats throughout the year for cards. Yeah.
For Ken, when he goes back and watches the end of the show, I want to throw this up.
Well, just take that and put it on Twitter like you do everything else.
But yeah, well, I mean, we went over a little bit, but we did have about 30 minutes of just wrestling talk. So, we had to get some card talk in there.
Well, what else?
While we got some people in here, if I want to mention that, if you're watching, please hit the like button. If you're not, which I think pretty much everybody in the chat is already subscribed. One thing I would like to throw out that I've never really brought out is, if you like this, leave a comment. If there's something that you would like for us to talk about, or something you don't like, hit me up on Twitter DMs, or leave a comment. I want to continue doing this. To say it, it's kind of gotten to be a struggle this time of year because of stuff going on. But when I can be, I will be, and when I can't be, I'll have to make up for it. But and just thank the guy over here on my right. He got it started, and then
dude, just go live, Herman. That's all. Let's just go live. It'll be fun.
Just click that button. Just click that button right there.
That button right there. Just click it. Just click it right there. Just click it.
I'm gonna share and retweet that first video tonight.
Oh my gosh, that has to be like the worst video ever that we could possibly do.
But we actually, it was funny because we actually opened cards that episode.
Did we really?
Yeah, we actually did a giveaway that nobody responded to and collected on. Don't go back and watch it now, because them cards, I don't know where they're at now.
I don't know. They might be available on Sport Lots. That's how awesome they were. They were available on Sport Lots.
They're buried here somewhere. I might could find them, but I don't know if I could now.
When are the chicken cards coming out? There we go. They're trying to shoot our wheels off, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Oh, crap. You're going to use that one now.
All right, guys. Everybody in chat, we appreciate you joining. Brad, I appreciate you jumping in. As you're welcome in anytime. We'll work you back into the YouTube eventually.
Eventually. I was thinking about it.
I kind of like the threesome.
And we turn into 12-year-old boys.
All right.
You see, that's what happened. That probably was the first episode right there. Was just that first 5 seconds.
All right, everybody. Take care. We'll see y'all next Monday, and keep on hobbying or something like that.
Don't be a dickhole.